Hey guys, this is Bharat and welcome to Bharatskitchen with finally the Domino's Choco Lava recipe. It's been long. So there's no introduction. This is the Domino's lava cake recipe and okay, so let's begin with it. Alright, so first thing that you're gonna need is a bowl, and to this we're gonna make our dry mix. So add some all-purpose flour, some sugar, then comes in some milk powder, and here the all-purpose flour and the milk powder is the same quantity. That is, if you're using half cup all-purpose flour, then you're gonna need to use half cup of milk powder. Then to this add some salt, and further we're gonna add some good quality cocoa powder. Now why do I say good quality cocoa powder here is basically because a good quality cocoa powder has actually got more fat content, and that fat really makes a difference in this recipe. I'll link the cocoa powder which I've used in this recipe so that you can buy it. You're also gonna add some baking powder. Alright, now I've just sifted all my dry mix combination. Now this is not a very important step, but since I'm trying to replicate a commercial recipe, you need to follow the basic important steps. Now after watching the live stream, you guys messaged me on Instagram, Bharat, we want the exact same recipe. So there are a few things that you might not get, like what the next ingredient is. That is some GMS and Zangtangam. Well, I know certainly many of you won't get it. So is it very important? It is important in case of commercial cooking process. As in commercial process, we need the chocolate lava to hold more moisture, to be more softer, to be more lava-like. So these two really help in that. GMS basically holds more moisture, makes any eggless cake actually soft, and Zangtangam is basically a thickener, but in this case, it enables the fat to combine with the water, which is certainly very crucial. Think about it, in restaurants, it's all about consistency, that whenever you eat, the result should be same. So that is why such kind of things are added. And since you guys told me कि Bharat हमें एकदम exact recipe चाहिए, so now I'll tell you an alternative recipe on my Hindi channel. And don't be scared, if you don't have Zangtangam or GMS, you can definitely skip in this recipe. Alright, for our wet mix, I've taken some compound chocolate, and to this you need to add a lot of butter. Basically, we're just trying to make a ganache out of it. So you can use a double boiler here as well to melt the chocolate, but I'm going to use my microwave. So if you're using a microwave, just heat it for 30 seconds, then mix, and again heat it for about 30 seconds, and again mix, and everything would certainly melt and would come together. And you know the worst part of making chocolate lava cake is that you constantly eat this chocolate or the batter. Trust me, it's one of the biggest issues. Anyways, you also gonna need some hot water. Okay, now to your dry mix, add all your wet mix and slowly and gently mix everything together. And be a little thorough here. You don't want any lumps in it. And in the end, you'll get this amazing silky smooth chocolatey batter. And here you can see this consistency that the batter is dropping but it's not flowing, and that is only due to Zangtangam and the GMS. If you're not gonna add that, then you'll get a little flowing kind of a batter. Keep this in mind. Alright, now that your batter is ready, it's time to cook. As for the question that how Domino's makes it, so they basically cook half of the cake in the factory and then it is chilled and then it is cooked at 240 degrees for 7 minutes in the restaurant, and that's their process. But I'm not gonna follow that as I'm making it at my home. I'm just gonna cook it throughout. So just take your ramekin bowls, and now these are normal ramekins. These are not very small, these are not very large, they're just normal mid-sized ramekins. Alright, so just grease your ramekin with some butter. Make sure you apply butter to all the edges and everywhere, and then add your batter to the ramekins. And now the most crucial point, which is that you don't have to fill this ramekin to the brim. It should be just between 3/4 and half. Don't fill it a lot, otherwise I've had situations that they burst out from this mold and seriously the lava cake is full of lava. So make sure you fill it till the half and then remove all the excess air bubbles by tapping a ramekin on a cloth. Now how do I bake it? Well, it's very simple. Just preheat your oven at about 230 degrees centigrade. And it is very important that you set your oven to toast. That is, both the up and the down heating rod should be working. Preheat it for about 10 minutes, and when it's hot enough, add your lava cake. And you just need to cook them for about 10 to 12 minutes. And the way to judge that your lava cake is done or not is basically when you take it out from your oven, you need to check whether it is jiggly or not. If it is non-jiggly, then it is done. So keep this in mind. When you take out your lava cake, just shake it a little bit and test it out. And then you'll get this. You can see that this is seriously a perfect choco lava cake. The only difference between my recipe and the Domino's one would be that I have not added corn syrup in this. If you add corn syrup in this, it's even more fudgier. It's a little better result. I'll post a much easier version for everybody to try on my Hindi channel. So do watch that as well. And as always, you'll find all the list of ingredients and their measurements and the things you need to buy to make this recipe all in the description bar down below. So don't worry about it. And finally, here is the lava shot.